Ladies, let's be honest. No one over 60 wants to walk into a room and secretly wonder, did anyone hear that? Or worse, did anyone smell that? If you're experiencing excess gas, and I'm talking about those sneaky, silent, but deadly moments, you are not alone. But you also don't have to just accept it as normal aging. In this video, I'm going to reveal 6 proven ways to reduce excess gas after 60, so you can finally feel more comfortable, more confident, and a lot less bloated. And be sure to watch until the very end, because I'll share the one common health food that secretly causes the worst gas in senior women. Also, comment below if this is something you've secretly struggled with. And of course, subscribe for more straight-talking advice from a doctor who understands older women. 1. Rebalance your gut bacteria. Let's start with your gut, because believe me, after 60, your gut is not what it used to be. Throughout your life, your intestines have housed trillions of bacteria, both the good kind and, unfortunately, the troublemakers. These bacteria help you digest food, absorb nutrients. And yes, they're responsible for creating gas. But here's the problem. As we age, the balance between these bacteria can shift dramatically. Stress, medications like antibiotics or acid reducers, changes in diet, and even reduced mobility can lead to an overgrowth of the bacteria that produce more gas. For many women, this shows up as bloating, discomfort, and yes, those embarrassing moments you'd rather not talk about in polite company. But the good news? You can take steps to gently bring balance back to your gut. Here's what I recommend to my patients. Fermented foods. These are natural sources of probiotic bacteria, the good guys. Things like plain, unsweetened yogurt, kefir, sauerkraut, and kimchi can help repopulate your intestines with the strains that aid digestion rather than fermenting your lunch into gas. Start small, just a few spoonfuls a day, and see how your body responds. Probiotic supplements. Not all probiotics are created equal. If you're buying one, look for strains specifically designed for digestive health and women over 60. Certain strains like Bifidobacterium lactis and Lactobacillus plantarum have been shown to reduce bloating and gas. Prebiotics cautiously. Prebiotics are the fibers that feed your good bacteria, but be careful, too much too quickly can make gas worse. Start slow with things like cooked oats, bananas, or small portions of asparagus. The key is patience. A balanced gut doesn't happen overnight, but over time, this can dramatically reduce not just gas, but bloating, irregularity, and that heavy gut feeling so many women over 60 complain about. 2. Eat slower. Seriously, slow down. I know this sounds painfully simple, but hear me out. How you eat matters just as much as what you eat. Most of us grew up in a culture where meals were rushed, whether it was wrangling kids, juggling work, or just getting it over with. But after 60, your digestion changes. Your body needs time to properly chew, taste, and prepare food for digestion. When you eat too fast, you're doing 2 things wrong. You're swallowing excess air. That air doesn't just disappear. It travels down and either comes back up as a burp or stays trapped and exits, well, later. You're making your digestive system work harder. Large, unchewed pieces of food are harder for your stomach to break down, especially when, as we age, our stomach acid and enzymes naturally decrease. This means more undigested food reaches your intestines, where bacteria feast on it, producing gas. How can you fix this? Sit down without distractions. No phone, no TV, no multitasking. Put your utensils down between bites. This forces you to chew fully and slow the pace. Chew each bite thoroughly, ideally 20 times. I know that sounds tedious, but it works wonders for digestion. Another tip, start your meal with a few slow, mindful breaths. This helps activate your parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest mode, and signals to your body that it's time to digest, not rush. The result? Less swallowed air, better digestion, less bloating, less gas, and, believe it or not, better satisfaction from smaller portions. 3. Identify and reduce gas trigger foods. Here's where things get personal. What causes gas in me might not cause gas in you. But there are some notorious offenders that I see time and time again in my patients over 60. Let's start with the usual suspects. Beans and lentils. Yes, they're healthy. Yes, they're full of fiber and protein. But they're also packed with complex sugars called oligosaccharides. And these sugars are like candy to gas-producing bacteria in your gut. Cruciferous vegetables. Think broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage, Brussels sprouts. These are incredibly nutritious, but they contain sulfur compounds and fibers that ferment heavily in the gut. Alliums, onions, and garlic. These are full of fructans, which are notorious for causing bloating and gas in sensitive people. Dairy. Even if you were fine with milk at 30, by 60, your lactase enzyme levels may have dropped, making it harder to digest lactose, the sugar in dairy. Undigested lactose equals, you guessed it, more fermentation and gas. Sugar alcohols. Sorbitol, xylitol, mannitol. All common in sugar-free gums, mints, and diet snacks. These pass undigested into your colon, where bacteria happily turn them into gas. But here's where it gets tricky. You might tolerate small amounts of these foods just fine. It's the quantity, the combination, and even the time of day that matter. That's why I recommend a simple food and symptom diary. For 2 weeks. Write down everything you eat and drink. Note when bloating or excess gas occurs. Pay attention to timing. Gas after dinner might relate more to what you ate at lunch. Patterns will emerge. And once you know your personal triggers, you can reduce or modify, not necessarily eliminate. For example, smaller portions of beans, soaked overnight before cooking. Cooked rather than raw vegetables. Lactose-free dairy options. You're not giving up your favorite foods forever. You're learning how your mature body handles them differently than it did at 30 and adjusting wisely. For move that body, even a little helps. Now, let's talk about something many older women don't realize affects gas, movement, or the lack of it. When we hit 60 and beyond, many of us naturally slow down. Aching joints, a bit less energy, more time spent reading, knitting, or relaxing indoors, it all adds up. But here's the thing. Your digestive system depends on movement to function properly. When you sit too long, digestion slows. The muscles in your intestines, called your peristaltic muscles, don't get the signal to keep things moving efficiently. That means gas builds up, food ferments longer, and you feel heavier, more bloated, and frankly more gassy. The good news? You don't need to run marathons or take up high-intensity boot camps. Gentle, consistent movement is enough to improve digestion and naturally reduce gas. Here's what works beautifully after 60. Post-meal walks. A 10 to 20-minute stroll after eating helps stimulate digestion, move trapped gas through the system, and prevent it from building up in the first place. It doesn't need to be fast or strenuous. Fresh air and a steady pace are all you need. Gentle stretching. Certain yoga poses, even done seated or with support, can help ease gas. Think of gentle twists, forward bends, and light side stretches that massage your abdominal organs and help release trapped pockets of air. Chair exercises. If standing or walking is challenging, seated leg lifts, ankle circles, and gentle torso twists can stimulate your core and digestion without straining joints. Here's a little tip from my years of practice. Movement doesn't just help digestion, it helps your confidence. Women who move regularly feel lighter, more in control, and far less anxious about those unexpected noisy moments. And that alone can make life after 60 a whole lot more enjoyable. 5. Hydrate, but smartly. Hydration is one of those topics we all think we've figured out by now, but many older women either drink too little or drink in ways that unintentionally worsen gas. Let me explain. As we age, our sense of thirst dulls. You may not feel thirsty, but your body still desperately needs water to keep your digestion running smoothly. Without enough fluids, your digestive system slows down, your stools harden, and undigested food lingers in your gut longer, which leads to fermentation and gas. And this is important, how you drink matters just as much as how much. Many women make the mistake of guzzling large amounts of water at once, especially during meals. This can dilute stomach acid and interfere with proper digestion, leaving food sitting too long in the stomach. That undigested food travels south and ferments, creating, you guessed it, more gas. Here's my simple hydration advice for women over 60. Sip steadily throughout the day. Keep a glass or bottle nearby. And take small sips every 20 to 30 minutes rather than trying to catch up all at once. Avoid gulping large amounts with meals. A few sips are fine, but save most of your fluids for between meals. Opt for digestive-friendly teas. Peppermint, ginger, fennel, and chamomile teas can soothe digestion and help reduce gas buildup naturally. Think of hydration as a gentle companion to your digestion. It doesn't need to be forced, just steady, thoughtful, and consistent. 6. Support your digestive enzymes. Finally, let's talk about something almost no one tells older women. Your digestive system simply doesn't work as efficiently after 60 as it did at 30 or even 50. Your body produces fewer digestive enzymes and less stomach acid with age. These are the very substances responsible for breaking down your food properly. Without them, food sits in the stomach longer, passes into the intestines, partially digested, and ferments. And what does fermentation produce? Gas. That's why even healthy foods like vegetables, grains, and dairy can suddenly cause bloating and discomfort after meals when they never used to. Here's what I recommend to my patients. Smaller, more frequent meals. Rather than burdening your digestion with large portions, aim for moderate meals spaced evenly throughout the day. Your body handles smaller amounts much more efficiently. Chew thoroughly. Yes, I said this earlier, but it bears repeating. Proper chewing is the very first step in enzyme action. Consider digestive enzyme supplements. These are widely available and can be a game changer for many women over 60. Look for blends that contain amylase carbs, protease, proteins, lipase, fats, and lactase, dairy. These help your body do what it's struggling to do naturally. Take them right before or during your largest meal for the best effect. Additionally, foods that naturally support enzyme production include pineapple, bromelain, papaya, papain, and fermented foods. A little of these regularly can help ease digestion without the need for harsh remedies. If you're feeling bloated, gassy, and uncomfortable more often than not, don't just suffer in silence. Supporting your digestion with a little enzyme help can bring relief and restore your confidence in eating without fear.